Yeah, second derivative. That's it. And implicitly. Okay. So let's find it the first time. So if I take the derivative of y squared, it's going to become 2y, and then you get dy dx. That's first term. Second term is going to have to be product rule. So with the x just turns into a 1. I just get a y. Then the y would be dy dx. So I had to do product rule for them. Next, I have x squared. Take the derivative of x squared. That's just going to be 2x as normal. And on the right-hand side, we have the number 5. That will go to 0. All right, we've taken the first derivative with respect to x. Now, what I want to do is I want to put these together. Everything else on another side, because I'm going to factor it out. I'll have dy dx times 2y minus x equals y minus 2x. Now I can divide both sides by what's in the parentheses to solve for dy dx equals y minus 2x over 2y minus x. On to because now we have to do it again. It's harder the second time. Now it's quotient rule. So goody. But that's the way it is. And I need as much room as possible. The answer is certainly not 4. In fact, I believe that is the correct first derivative. I'm going to get rid of everything else because I don't need it at this point. I don't have a lot of room.
I understand. That's gonna like half a piece of paper.
Well, it's fine when I'm not writing on a computer screen, but all this other stuff takes up so much room. Okay, so we found that dy dx equals y minus 2x over 2y minus x. Let's take the second derivative, which means quotient rule. It's going to have to be. So to take quotient rule, it's the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator over the denominator squared. Okay. So that means d squared y over dx squared would equal the derivative of this. That's going to be dy dx for that term minus 2. Okay. And then times 2y minus x. Minus, first part I leave alone. Now I take the derivative of the denominator with respect to x. So that would be a 2 dy dx for just the 2y. Gives me 2 dy dx minus 1. Now the denominator gets squared. what we should do now is we should expand the numerator because we need to simplify as much as possible. That makes sense what I'm gonna do. So I need to distribute. I need to distribute. I'm gonna get rid of this because now I don't need. I've already taken the derivative. That. That. I get rid of it. Okie dokie. So distribute. That is 2y dy dx minus x dy dx minus 4y plus 2x. It's okay? Let's not forget about this. In fact, just to avoid sign error, I'm going to put a minus sign and then I'm going to do brackets. Y times 2 dy dx would be 2y dy dx minus y, a minus 4x dy dx, and a plus 2x. A lot will cancel, but simplify it out. That part's okay. At least steps are fine. Now we need to see what can we cancel. I have a 2x and a 2x, and those go away. 2y dx, 2y dx, those go away. That's gonna die. Go. These will combine. These will combine. But they're not gonna go away. They just gonna combine. So let's combine it. So I have a negative x dy dx minus negative 4x dx. So I think that's a negative 5.
It's minus, so it's plus.
No, not for that. Because it's not multiplying. Whoa, I'm sorry. You're right, I'm wrong. Minus, minus, minus. That is plus.
Okay.
Thank you. But we'll help my friends. That's a negative 3x dy dx. Now we have negative 4y minus y, so plus y, so negative 3y. 2y minus x squared. Where do you go from here? Good golly. So far, so good though? Here's the problem.
Is the first part 3x?
Negative 3x dy dx minus 3y over 2y minus x squared. Okay. So we're trying to solve for the d squared. We have a dy dx in here.
So we need to get it on the other side.
No. We have to plug that first derivative into here and simplify. Let's do it. All right, what was that first dy dx?
It was y minus 2x over 2y minus x.
Is that right? We need to plug that in for this. Oh, I know, that's the right face to make. That's the face you should be making. That means you understand the problem. This means that the student has shown growth by being horrified. Okay, but here it is. That means we're almost done. Negative 3x times y minus 2x over 2y minus x minus 3y over 2y minus x squared. Now we don't have any more derivatives. So we can at least say that for what it's worth, we don't have a derivative. All right, everything else now is algebra. Calculus is gone. I need to simplify this in some way. I think the way to do it would be to give this guy a 2y minus x. Like this doesn't have any, this says, think of the denominator as 1. So I want to combine these because I see that I could do something. So I'm going to say 2y minus x, 2y minus x. That is technically the number 1. So I haven't lied. That puts everything over the same denominator. And that can really help. So now we have negative 3x, y minus 2x minus 3y, 2y minus x over 2y minus x to the third. Since these are both over that, we can just simplify it and then 2 turns into a 3. We're done. Okay.